Gamal Gamati, the Libyan Transitional National Council, I don't think he's here. Okay, we'll move onwards and upwards from Libya to Egypt. And I'm very pleased, we did try to, by the way, we're a humble organisation, we did try to get the Egyptian, like the Spectator or whatever, New Statesman, reached the Egyptian authorities and they wanted to contact us. But the Egyptian journalists didn't give us the contact of the Egyptian investigators. There you go. So anyway, onwards and upwards, I'm pleased we got Dr. Amr Hassanein from Egypt, from Moody's Middle East. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've been listening to the presentations and the various talks that have been done in this room, and I appreciate them very much. I am the partner of Moody's for Egypt and other countries in the region. So supposedly, I'm supposed to be one of those sophisticated bankers and investment bankers who deal with all this stuff. However, for the purposes of the day, I would like to take off my hat of the sophisticated banker and just talk as an Egyptian person who has been with this revolution and who has been in Tahrir Square a lot of the time with my wife, with my kids, because many Egyptians, if not all Egyptians, were fed up with the system that was in Egypt. And many Egyptians, do you know that on the night that Mubarak left power, do you know the number of Egyptians who were in the streets? 20 million. 20 million people took off to the streets, telling Mubarak, we do not want you there, you have to go out. It is by no chance that this revolution succeeded. It is by no chance. Make no mistake about it. 20 million people were out in the streets.
You're most welcome to speak in that capacity. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I had prepared the presentation. About Egypt's stolen wealth. I will not talk from the presentation. I was quite moved by what I heard in this room, so I will just talk my heart out. The first part of my presentation was to show you figures. Yes, Egypt is a poor country. Yes, we need that money. We are going begging the IMF and other places to loan us money. We need that money. And unfortunately, the trend that I'm seeing through various public media is that we are being trained, this is training that is happening. We are being trained to psychologically give up on pursuing that money. It is training, it is psychological training. We are being told, if you do this, this and that, we will give you the money. But then, you find that this and that is so damn difficult, and so damn expensive, and so damn impossible. So psychologically, you get trained to forget about that money. Gentlemen and ladies, we are not talking about money that was stolen from us. We are talking about our lives that have been stolen. Our lives have been stolen. We have gone through a double jeopardy. Do you know what a double jeopardy is? One, let me ask you something. What was the legitimacy of somebody like Mubarak and his regime? Where did he get his legitimacy from? Do you know where from? From here. From the US, from other countries in Europe. That was where he got his legitimacy from, not from the people of Egypt. Anybody who knew the people of Egypt or who visited Egypt knew that this gentleman had no legitimacy whatsoever.
But he was the vice president, wasn't he?
I'm talking about the last 20 years at least. 20 years. His legitimacy was from outside of Egypt. That was where his legitimacy from. He had no legitimacy inside Egypt. What was he doing during those 20 years? He was preparing himself, protecting himself for this day. How? By giving and giving to the US and to the West. So a lot of the wealth of Egypt goes there. and then he takes for himself and he puts his money outside, and we cannot get that either. So the country gets ripped off for 20 or 30 years, officially, and then again non-officially through his wealth, which he put outside and which we are being trained to forget about psychologically. That is very interesting. That is what I call the double jeopardy. I heard somebody back there talk about compensations for the people of Egypt and when the money will come back, how they will be compensated and so on. I would like to refer to a very interesting episode that happened to see the other side, how they think of compensations. Two senators from the United States went and visited Iraq recently. I'm talking about 3 weeks ago. Do you know why they were visiting Iraq? They were trying to negotiate with the Iraqis that the Iraqis should pay the US compensation for the US invasion of Iraq. I love that. The Iraqis threw them out, it is true, but that is the logic. The Iraqis should pay the US compensation for the US invasion of Iraq. Lovely, I love that.
Libya.
I cannot understand why it has to be difficult. I am removing my sophisticated hat and talking as an individual who was a good part of this revolution. Do you know in the interrogations, and they were published when the people of Egypt have become so frustrated recently, I'm talking about the last few weeks, what's happening, I'm telling you what's happening in Egypt. The people in Egypt are very frustrated. Why? Because they are noticing that the system is very soft and lenient with Mubarak. Why is the system so lenient and soft with him? So, in order to sort of quiet the people a little bit, they published the interrogations of Mubarak, and they published it in the papers, okay? The formal interrogations, yes, of course, the frontman, you know, the frontman. He had, first of all, in these monies, we know that all his wealth is $500,000. If this money is not returned, the people of Egypt firmly believe that whoever is here are partners in this. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but this is the truth. As I said, Mubarak had his legitimacy not from the people of Egypt in the last 20 years at least, but from the West and from the US. Every now and then we hear the pep talk, the lip service. We want democracy in Egypt. We promote democracy in Egypt. Did anybody believe that? The US would say, we want to see democracy in Egypt. On the contrary, and then meeting with Mubarak, hugs and kisses, and nobody ever believed that they really wanted democracy in Egypt. As a matter of fact, even in the middle of right in the heart of the Egyptian revolution, Mr. Obama was trying to push for Mubarak staying until September. You know why? To maintain his legacy. He wanted to keep his legacy, to protect his legacy. I don't know what kind of legacy they were talking about. The legacy of all those billions, it's unbelievable. Gentlemen and ladies, I finish my statement by the very famous saying, evil prevails when good men fail to act.
Yes.
Evil prevails when good men fail to act. My question is it a question of good men failing to act, or is it not very good men not wanting to act? Which is it? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amr Hassanein, for that passionate and to the point insight on the reality of Egyptian wealth. Okay, now
may I add one statement?
Yeah, please.
Ahmed Naguib used to be in Tahrir. I want you to live the psyche of what Tahrir was. I would call Ahmed Naguib by phone, and we tell him the slogans that people are carrying, please translate them to English. Don't leave them in Arabic. Do you know why? Because the fight was between Egypt, all Egypt and Mubarak, but directed to whom? To somebody outside. We wanted that somebody outside.
They neglect oil.